What is a man to do when he finds himself alone and afraid in the unforgiving woods, with no resources nor tools to his name? Does he shrink and recoil in fear, hoping for help that may never come to save him? Does he sit and wait, slowly starving, hoping for food to manifest itself in front of him so the pain of hunger can abate? When injured, does he sit and wait for the wound to slowly fester and deteriorate when there is no medicine available to cure what ails him? No. When stuck in an unknown and hostile location, the man must only rely on his wit and cunning to secure himself another day of survival. The man must fend for himself. Only through the power of the knowledge of the land that surrounds him can help him there. There's no room for being picky on what to eat, what to wear, or where to sleep, when any inaction could lead to a quick, brutish death. Life in the forest is harsh, unforgiving, and dangerous. There's no one around to help the man, so the man must make do with what he has, and rely solely upon the sweat of his brow. This is a tale of Lorax, the man of the forest, and his time spent in the isolated wilds known as the Forest of Kentucky. As a man of the forest, I've equipped Lorax with some traits that would help guarantee his survival in the wild. To start, he's a wildsman, hiker, herbalist, lumberjack, and outdoorsman. The main negatives that he has is that he's a claustrophobe, a coward, and fearful, which means he involuntarily shouts when he's scared. He's also got horribly mangled teeth, as a forest dweller should. I start off in the middle of the forest, with absolutely nothing to my name. I have no idea where I am, or if I'm close to any form of civilization at all, but I know that I must survive. I begin foraging in the surrounding area, looking for anything that I could use to defend myself. Scrounging around, I find myself 2 tree branches lying on the ground, stuffing them into my underwear, knowing that I could turn it into a spear if I were able to find an object that's sharp enough. I continue to look around, finding myself some mushrooms, and that's when I notice that I've somehow gotten a scratch on my foot, and I'm bleeding. If I don't take care of this injury soon, it'll get infected, and I'll bleed out and die, which would be a terrible way to go. I've got nothing to bandage myself with, so I've just gotta tough it out like a real man of the forest would do. As all of my blood is finding its way out of the small hole in my foot, out of the corner of my eye, I spot a caterpillar. I pick up the tasty little morsel and toss it into my mouth, eating the delicious meal that Mother Nature has served to me, and forgetting the worries that plague me. As a man of the forest, and with Mother Nature as my patron, she will protect and feed me. Another one of nature's gifts revealed themselves to me, a chipped stone lying in a clearing. As my neurons begin to activate, I grab the stone and start carving away at a tree branch that I picked up earlier, fashioning myself a spear. With this, I can protect myself and hunt for fish, should I happen to find any body of water. Now that we've teched up to the Stone Age, I continue to scrounge around, finding a few extra chipped stones that could be used to craft a stone axe, edible mushrooms, and herbal medicines that could soothe the mind, body, and soul. As I'm rifling through the muck of the forest, Mother Nature bestows upon me another one of her blessed gifts. A kitchen knife. With this, I can now whittle as many spears as I want to my heart's content without having to spend a chipped stone. I could also attach that knife to my spear, but for that, I'd need duct tape. Now, my wound is starting to deteriorate and I'm beginning to feel unwell. I venture further into the woods that surround me, hoping to find anything to aid me. Instead, I find a fresh cockroach on the floor, and I consume it. This may not be immediately useful, but it gives me the strength to carry on. As I walk, undeterred and unafraid, Mother Nature bestows upon me her third gift. I have obtained an empty paint bucket, a useful tool to hold water whenever I find some. As I forge ahead through the overgrown forest, I find myself a clearing that isn't all too clear. Zombies, smelling the stench of my blood, begin to approach me, hoping to make me their next meal. With the might of the forest at my hands, I ready the spear that I've made, preparing for a fight. The zombies lunge at me, and I attack them, swiping and stabbing at them while backing up, keeping the distance between us. I manage to kill 2 of the undead before my spear breaks, but I never come unprepared. I run away, pulling out my second spear that I've kept hidden in a special place. I turn back around and kill another zombie before the spear breaks again. I push the last zombie down, crushing its skull. I've triumphed over the first of many challenges that present themselves to me. I claim my reward, tearing the clothes off the zombies to fashion myself a few improvised bandages. I also peel off some sneakers and a nice pair of black underwear and put them on myself. With the rags that I've taken off the fallen foes, I forge myself a few stone axes, my weapon of choice as man of the forest. I start moving to the east, hewing my way through the small hordes that stand in my way, taking some clothes off of the undead that would no longer need them. I manage to strip off a black crop top t-shirt, which looks sexy as hell on me. As I'm putting on the clothes, even more zombies make their way towards me, so I fight back, but my axe breaks, forcing me to run back into the trees, back to safety. As resourceful as I am, I managed to find another stick on the ground, whittling it into a spear for self-defense. I will never go unarmed or go hungry, as long as I have the forest at my side, guiding and protecting me. Coming upon a street, this is the first sign of civilization that I've seen in a long while, but modernity strikes at me by sending their strongest zombies at me. I'm surrounded, but I return to monkey and I chimp out, killing the undead around me with my spear and my fists. With my work done, I return to the forest. After a bit of travel, I stumble upon some farmland, meeting a lone doctor by the name of Ian wandering the woods alone. It's been so long since I've seen any other living beings, or had any company, so I decide to make him my man-wife, where we will attempt to conceive many children in a shack that I will build with my bare hands, forest man style. With a new companion in tow, we both head to the farmhouse and rate it for all of its worth. I crack open the window and let myself inside. Searching through the boxes, I find myself some planks, grabbing one and drilling it. Now I finally acquired the ability to make fire. That's another tech upgrade for me. I make my way to the house across the street and make my way inside, letting the good doctor in through the front door. Upon entering the house, I make my way straight to the restroom, filling my paint bucket with water from the toilet. Then I go to the living room, turning on the TV to the usual channel. Life and living. This is the only way to learn since books are for chumps, lawyers, and politicians. I then head to the bedroom to clothe myself with a name brand jacket, and damn do I look good. Now it's time to go to sleep, but I'm claustrophobic, so I can't sleep inside. I go to the benches just outside the house and I lay down on it, staring up at the stars, feeling ever more connected to nature. The ground provides me with nourishment and protection, while the stars themselves grant me cosmic wisdom and comfort. Knowing this, my pulse slows and I begin to fall asleep. The new day dawns upon me and I lift myself up off the bench, heading to the forest and continue my travels. I find another survivor and I go up to him, but he pushes me down and stomps on me, wounding me. An attack on me is an attack on nature itself. I unleash my wrath, hitting him with my stone axe until he crumbles under the weight of my blows. I bandage the injuries that the cretin has given me and loot his body. He's got a skull bag of holding and a spear tipped with a hunting knife. This is yet another gift from my patron, Mother Nature herself, wrapped in a fleshy present. With this, I can sustain myself and defend myself if anyone decides to wish me harm. I set up a campfire and strip the clothing off the corpse next to me, tossing it into the fire pit. These clothes have been imbued with the essence of life, and every sacrifice made to the fire gives it life. I light the fire, and it is now a piercing beacon in the thick darkness of night. With the newly acquired spear in my hands, I put it to use and hunt for fish. The soft sounds of flowing water calms my spirit and assuages my worries. Living life in the forest wasn't as bad as I first thought it to be, and I'm beginning to be convinced that this is how life should be. Just two men, living on their lonesome, away from civilization and judging eyes, forging their own path in this destroyed world. The land provides me sizable fish, and I'm satisfied. I lie down next to the corpse and fire, feeling content and fulfilled in life, and drift off to sleep. The next day greets us with open arms, and with the fire still roaring, I fillet the fish and cook it, preparing for another trek through the forest. With weapons to defend myself and food to sustain us, there's nothing tying us down. But first, a nap. I go back to the small farmhouse and rest for a few hours. Night falls, giving me the perfect opportunity to trek through the brush unseen and unheard. I come upon another house, creeping up to the windows under the cover of darkness, to peek in and see if there are any residents. I spot a few zombies inside, so I decide to call to them, getting their attention. I break open the window to let them out, slaying each one that dares to exit, clearing out the living room of the house. Now I should be safe enough to enter without putting myself in too much danger. I clear the glass from the window and let myself in, killing a zombie in the front door. I then head over to the shed to claim my real prize, a garden saw which will enable me to build a shack fit for a king, or in this case, a forest man. I set off again in the forest, finding myself on more farmland filled with zombies. I cut my way through them with ease, with the help of my man-wife. I make my way to the house that lies on the northern end of the farm, and is teeming with undead that hunger for my flesh. I take them on and abolish them, but it's starting to take a toll on my mind and body. Exhausted, I retreat back to the safety of the forest to rest. I find myself a nice spot and survey my surroundings, and sleep, comforted by the presence of my companion. Awake once more in the middle of the night, trekking on the roads paved beneath us. With Dr. Man-Wife by my side, I feel as if we can overcome any obstacle. We kill, loot, and travel until we arrive at a luxurious cabin. I spend a few minutes picking up some of the non-perishables that the house contains, and I move on to the next room, spotting a zombie looking out of the window wistfully. The furnishings of modernity start to get to me and I snap, killing the zombie, but accidentally let out a shriek, attracting the other zombies living in the house. I obliterate them, and I grab only the essentials off of their bodies since I'm already carrying too much, and I head on over to the next house on the block. It's guarded by even more undead, sadly enough, since I just want to get on with my simple life, but I do what's necessary. I deal with the zombies outside and enter the small house, rummaging through the cabinets and scoring myself a delicious meal, a fresh dead rat. I leave the house with the meal in my pocket, and I decide to dig in. We're eating good food tonight. We reached the lake once more with the saw and axe in hand, prepared to make myself a more permanent shelter. It will be beautiful, and it will synergize with nature itself. I grab my axe and I start to hew trees until it breaks, but I have enough logs to make something with it. I gather the materials to construct the first structure, a singular log wall, but that's the only thing I can make currently, and I'm already out of supplies. I'll need to find more chip stones to craft a few more stone axes, or a proper axe that won't crumble in 3 swings. For that, I'll have to go to other residences to find what I need. I leave my man-wife by the log wall to keep it secure, and I head off into the unknown. I wind up at the farmstead a few miles down the road, in the darkness, making my way indoors. I grab some food from the drawers and I get to work, deconstructing everything within the house to raise my carpentry skill, while also getting some much needed resources for housemaking. With my bag loaded up, I head back to my would-be home. First, though, I put down a cross, making it known that this is my property and trespassers will be attacked. I then start putting up the foundations for the walls, and I spot a random man walking on my property. I really don't like that, so I show him what happens to the people who trespass on my property. I hit him, knocking him on the floor and taking him down, and then I kill him. I've had it with people thinking they own the place. I'll tolerate outsiders no longer. I leave his corpse on the floor to show people what will happen if they ever decide to walk on my land, and I get back to work on my house. Now, it's really starting to come together, but I feel like it's missing something. I go back to one of the houses I visited, grabbing and hauling back a recliner for me to sit down and rest my old bones. It's actually starting to feel like a real home. As a reward for a job well done, I decide to go to sleep on the recliner, and I awake feeling refreshed, ready for another night of work. I head back to the house to the south, and I start taking apart the furniture, stripping apart any usable nails and planks I can get from within, but it occurs to me, I haven't seen my man-wife in a while, so I decide to go look for him, and I find him just standing there. Give me a 1,000-yard stare. Did he see what I did to those people coming onto our property? I give him a push to see if he'll react, but he just stands there, unflinching, unmoving. Something seems to be wrong with him, but I forget all of that and when I spot a survivor with a sledgehammer, an extremely useful tool. I leave my companion's side and I assault the survivor, giving chase and bludgeoning him. I continue to be in Mother Nature's good graces as she's giving me tools, and all I need to do is take them. As soon as I'm done murdering one victim, another survivor brazenly walks on my land, forcing my hand and receiving my wrath. With the sledgehammer I've taken from the other man, I crack him on the back of the head, and I kill him. I grab the bag that he's been carrying and the spear that he's had in hand, and bring it to my weapon pile. With the intruders dealt with, I get back to work on my house, and it's finally coming together, but I feel like it's missing a few things to really make it pop. I head back to the local farm and grab myself a crate for storage and head back. I spot a scarecrow, and it piques my interest, as it could serve as a warning to potential passersby to not walk onto my property, so I grab that too and make my way back. When I reach my base, I place the crate and scarecrow, satisfied with my own work, and I go back to fixing up the walls to keep the people and zombies out from my private residence. We spend a few hours chopping down trees, sawing a few logs, and building a few walls. Out of nowhere, a group of people run into my private property as if it was some sort of sick prank. I've had it with people thinking they can come onto my land, so I'm taking matters back into my own hands. I take out the hatchet and scare both of them off with a few swings to their bodies. That'll teach them not to mess with me. With them out of my hair, I go back to the house, adding in some top quality wooden floors made by an authentic forest dweller. Once the floors are all well and done, I move on to the outside and start constructing the fences to mark my property. It starts to become nightfall pretty soon after I start doing the fences, so I decide to turn it in early and head to bed, but I'm not able to sleep because the area isn't safe. A zombie lunges at me in the blinding dark, but I manage to take him down and kill him. I grab the body and drag it outside next to the lake, and I take a look at my surroundings, making sure that the area is secure enough to head to bed. Oh, but I spot a man in a hoodie holding an assault rifle. We've got fully armed homed invaders. I pull out my hatchet and I swing at him, but he's made his way to my house. I chase after him, hitting him a few times and killing him, and I take a quick look through his inventory, and he's completely loaded with ammo, with a few magazines inside of his bag. With the intruders finally taken care of, I head to bed. I wake up at 10 a.m. and get back to work. We chop trees, saw logs, and build more fences before I get hungry and stop for a snack. I walk around the house and see one of the people that ran into my house before, so I chase them into the house that's close to my base, following them inside and killing them. By the grace of Mother Nature herself, I've been given a wood axe, the perfect tool to help build my shack in the woods, and I've had to do none of the work to look for it. I head back to the little shack and chop some more wood, saw some more logs, and build once more until I'm finally finished with the house of my dreams for me and my companion. This thing needs a few more finishing touches though, so I head back to the scarecrow and I pick it up and move it to the entrance of my house. I get real creative and construct 2 crosses next to the scarecrow, and I build the fire pit in front of it as an offering pit to Mother Nature herself. She has protected me and fed me at every turn, and she has never left my side. But I'm not done just yet. I grab the corpses of the people that I've killed, scattering them across the ground in front of the effigy that I've erected. Now, it is perfect. I sit by the fire, staring at what I've created. I've made a home for me and my man-wife on the edge of a small farm, and this is where I'll spend the rest of my days, fishing, foraging, surviving, and killing. I've made it this far with the help of Mother Nature, and I'll dedicate the rest of my days serving her as she has served me.